Hello everyone. Today I will be discussing Maslow's theory of motivation, also known as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which basically proposes that as individuals, we should satisfy our basic needs first in order to find our higher needs as motivating. Therefore, as teachers, we are suggested that we fulfill our students' basic needs as well before they can find or excel to their highest needs and reach their full potential. In this case, Maslow presented this theory or this pyramid where he mentions physiological, safety, social, esteem, and self-actualization as 5 of the needs that need to be fulfilled. As I was doing my research on this hierarchy of needs, I decided to ask my coworkers in the high school that I work in whether they know about this and whether they follow this theory. Most of them mentioned that they did know about this. They do not follow the theory step by step or need by need, but I did speak to one specific coworker. Her name is Tanya. She is a teacher, as I mentioned, in the high school that I work in, and I decided to interview her. Right now you will see her response as to how she motivates her students. Okay, so going back to the needs, we mentioned that the first need on Maslow's hierarchy was physiological. The physiological need involves food, water, warmth, sleep, meaning that, for example, if a student did not receive enough sleep a night before the class, therefore he's probably not going to retain all the information. He's going to be thinking, he or she is going to be thinking about going to sleep, maybe if the room is too hot or if the room is too cold. The student is not going to be comfortable, and therefore he or she is going to have something bothering him during the classroom. Next we had the safety need, which is the second on the hierarchy. And this need has to do with how safe our students feel at home and when they go to school. Are they having problems at home? Are they being bullied in school, in class, in the playground? Those are also things that we are asked to consider based on their safety. Next we have the social need, which is the student's desire for strong peer relationships and acceptance. In this one, what we can do as teachers is notice if our students are being isolated when they are in class, or if they are actually interacting with their classmates. And I find one of the ways to work with this is by doing our pairing techniques. Pairing up students who are shy with students that are more talkative, more social, so that we can have a balance and that they don't have to feel isolated all the time or without any friends or just simply not being accepted as part of the social circle. Next we have esteem, which this one, it allows students to feel a sense of achievement and believe that their peers see them favorably. So this means that we need to compliment our students whenever they're doing a good job, and also when they're not doing a good job, not be too harsh on them, but always keep those good compliments flowing so that their esteem can go from here to here, and that they can also feel as if they are doing an awesome job along with their peers. So it kind of goes in hand with social. And lastly, we have the self-actualization, which is when students reach their full potential and they use all of their strengths. So this is the last need on the hierarchy, and it's basically, as it said, it's the top one. It's where all of the basic ones have been already fulfilled. So this one is already giving them the best strength that they can in order to keep going and feel as best as possible.
My name is Tania Delgadillo. I'm motivating my students. In first place, I talk to them about it's okay to have mistakes while you're learning. That's the first introduction I give it to them. It's fine if you have mistakes. It's fine if you don't learn verb to be in the first explanation. You need to understand that getting to a language, it's very natural to make mistakes in that matter. After that, I give them a view of what is the opportunities that you get when you speak other languages, especially English in this case, like going into a mobility exchange, for example, go to another university, get into another cultures, have some cultural competence. Even the fluency that you get in your life when you speak another language is very important for your thoughts and the way you behave with others. That's another thing I do for motivate them. I also teach them music in English so they can understand the sense of the lyrics, because there are a lot of songs that give you expressions in English that you don't know, and when I teach them that, they feel excited because they understand it. I also make them feel comfortable with me. I try to make them feel that it's okay if you don't understand, it's okay if you fail a level. I have failed a lot of things in my life, and I'm here and I speak good. I mean, I'm not gonna be like a Latin American because I'm Mexican. It's okay if you have a Latin accent because you are Mexican. I mean, it's fine if you try to improve your pronunciation, but you are Mexican, and it's okay if you speak like one. I think that there's a lot of much more things that I could say, but I don't remember right now. But those are the basic ones.
Okay, and you're currently a teacher, correct?
Yeah.
And you mentioned you were studying your...
I specialize myself in research of internationalization in higher education, basically in the policy maker of internationalization, exchange, mobility, language, cooperation between universities around the world.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Talk to us about Maslow's theory of motivation. I'm going to talk to you about classical conditioning, which is basically based on stimulus and responses. We have three different stimulus: the unconditioned, the neutral, and the conditioned. And we have two different responses: the unconditioned and the conditioned. This is something that is presented in any context, and our response is a reaction. The unconditioned stimulus produces a natural response, and it's something that you don't have to learn. An example of an unconditioned stimulus we have when your students ask for permission to go to the bathroom. And then we have the unconditioned response, which is an unlearned response. It's a natural response. As an example, we have when you give your students a candy without earning it, or they don't expect what you're going to give them. Then we have the neutral stimulus. It doesn't produce a response. It doesn't react to something, or it's when you don't pay attention to something that you are looking at, but it's not important for you. And then we have the conditioned stimulus, which is a previously neutral stimulus that, after becoming associated with the unconditioned stimulus, eventually comes trigger a conditioned response. So I'm going to present you a video in which you will find the conditioned stimulus and the conditioned response. ¿Todos? Yes. Yes. And then, may I go? May I come in? May I come in? Yes. Yes.
The consequences of behavior determine the probability that the behavior will occur again. This was said by Skinner. But who is Skinner? Skinner was a psychologist, and he was also known as one of the leaders of behaviorism. Skinner was influenced by Pavlov's experiments and also by Watson's ideas. But he believed that to understand better a behavior, we had to look at the causes and the consequences of an action. And this concept was called operant conditioning. In operant conditioning, we have two types of reinforcements. One is positive and one is negative. I'm going to give you an example of a positive reinforcements. A simple example. When you start handing out sheets to your students and your students don't say thank you, and then suddenly you arrive to a student that does thank you for handing over the sheet, you give them a candy, and you can see that the other students will also start saying thank you when you hand them the sheet to receive a candy. Another example is when a student is participating during a class, you can give her a prize, a reward, so the student will keep repeating this, so he or she can keep participating during the class. A negative reinforcement is when you have a student in your class that all the time is speaking or interrupting your class. You can take him out of the classroom, you can reduce points from his final grade, and so the student will stop doing this action, or he will reduce his speaking or his interruption during the class.